Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today we are going to start our lesson 3. In the previous lesson we learned that there are 3 types of status of ism: rafa or the doer status, nasb or the detail status, jarr or the after of status. Now basically we are going to see how we can identify rafa, nasb, jarr in Arabic. One of the ways to do that is by the ending sound. Now what do I mean by that? A word is in rafa status if its ending sound is un or u. For example, Muslimun ends with the sound of un, so it is in rafa status. Al-Muslimu ends with the sound of u, so it is also in rafa status. A word is in nasab status if its ending sound is an or a. For example, Musliman ends with the sound of an, so it is in nasab status. Al-Muslima ends with the sound of a, so it is also in nasab status. A word is in jarr status if its ending sound is in or e. For example, Muslimin ends with the sound of in, so it is in jarr status. Al-Muslimi ends with the sound of e, so it is also in jarr status. Now let us look at some examples to understand this concept.
Before we look at the Arabic sentences, there is a point to be noted here. In English, the doer and the detail are often identified by their position. For example, Hamid hit the boy. Here Hamid is the doer and the boy is the detail. If I change the position of words, either the sentence won't make sense, such as hit Hamid the boy, or if I say the boy hit Hamid, the doer will be reversed. In Arabic though, we identify doer and detail by the ending sounds rather than position as we discussed earlier. Let's move on to the examples to clarify this concept. If we look at these words separately, here daraba means to hit in past tense, so it's a fi'l. The ism hamidun ends with un sound, so it will be rafa or the doer of the action. The other ism al-walada ends with a sound, which makes it nasb or the detail. If I change the position of the words and say instead hamidun daraba al-walada or daraba al-walada hamidun, the status doesn't change, meaning the rafa and nasb remain the same. If I change the ending sounds though, it would change the rafa and nasb. For example, in the following sentence, daraba al-waladu hamidan. Al-waladu ends with an u sound, so here it becomes the rafa or the do. Whereas hamidan ends with an sound, which makes it nasb or the detail. So here it will be the boy hit Hamid. But again, changing position doesn't change the rafa or nasb. Al-waladu daraba hamidan. Daraba hamidan al-waladu. In all 3 cases, status remains the same. So this is one way to identify the status of ism. Let's take a direct example from the Quran. وَقَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ. Dawood ends with an u sound, so it will be rafa or doer status. Jalut ends with a, making Jalut nasab or the detail. Qatala means he killed, so it becomes and Dawood killed Jalut. That's the end of today's lesson. Thank you for your patient listening.
So here's a little assessment for you for today's lesson. You can leave your answers in the comment or solve it on your own. We will display the answers in our next video. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to email us. We will try our best to respond. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.